Today's lesson is over factoring linear expressions. This addresses Standard 7 EEA1, apply properties of operations as strategies to add, subtract, factor, and expand linear expressions with rational coefficients. Today's objective is that students will be able to recognize the greatest common factor of terms and use the greatest common factor to factor linear expressions. So let's talk for just a minute before we get started about what greatest common factor is. You've used this a whole lot in previous grades. However, students tend to get greatest common factor and least common multiple confused. Greatest common factor makes you think that it's large numbers, hence the word greatest. However, it's all those small numbers that go into a number. Whereas when you hear the least common multiple, you're thinking small numbers because of the word least. However, least common multiples increase very quickly. Okay, so let's go over this just for a minute. So let's use the numbers 24 and 6. So when we're talking about the greatest common factor of 24, we're talking about all the numbers that go into 24. You can think of it as numbers that you're multiplying together, or you can just start at 1 and work your way up. Okay, so we know that 1 times 24 would give us 24. We know that 2 times 12 would give us 24. We know that 3 times 8 would give us 24. We know that 4 times 6 would give us 24. And stop and think, is there any other numbers that would go into 24 that you could multiply to get 24? There is not, so then you're going to do that with the 6. So we know that we could do 1 times 6. We could do 2 times 3. So when you're looking for the greatest common factor, you're looking for the largest number that went into both 24 and 6. So in this case, 6 was the greatest that went into both numbers. Now we can see that in 24 we had numbers like 24, 12, and 8 that were all larger than the 6. However, none of those were factors of 6. So it had to be the number that went into both 24 and 6. Okay, so let's practice here with example 1. It said, is 9 a factor of 64s and 72t? So does 9 go into 64? Okay, so you just have to think, is 9 times anything going to give you 64? So you could think of it as 9 times 7 is 63. Change colors here. 9 times 7 is 63, but not 64. And 9 times 8 is 72. So 9 is a factor of 72, but not of 64. So therefore, since it's not a factor of both numbers, 9 is not a factor of that expression as a whole, 64s minus 72t. So we would say no, because it has to go into both of those numbers. Okay, and number 2, is 5 a factor of 25d minus 35? Okay, so we know that 5 times 5 would give us 25. So that one would work. And then 5 times 7 is 35. So 5 is a factor of both 25 and 35. So yes, it is. Okay, pause your video and see if 2 and 3 are factors of those expressions. Okay, does 2 go into 6? Well, we know that 2 times 3 is 6, so it is a factor of 6. And we know that 2 times 8 is 16, so it is a factor of 16. So yes, 2 is a factor of 6q minus 16r. Okay, is 3 a factor of 21y minus 28? So we know that 3 times 7 is 21, so it is a factor of 21. But 3 times 8 would be 24, which is not 28. And 3 times 9 would be 27, still not 28, and 3 times 10 will be 30. So no, there's no way of getting 3 to go into 28 evenly. So this one is no. Okay, so now we're going to practice actually rewriting those expressions after we have factored. Okay, so we have to figure out what is the greatest number that will go into 14 and 6. Now, I don't anticipate that you will need to do this every time, but just to give you an idea of what it is that we're doing when we're doing our factors of 14, we're talking about everything that gives us 14. And just for the record, you can never factor out a 1. It must be a number greater than 1. 2 times 7 would give us 14. Okay, then our factors of 6 will be 1 times 6. Again, you can't use the 1. You could use 2 times 3. So what is the greatest number that they both have in common? Well, in this case, it's only the 2. So we're going to factor out a 2. So this is kind of like when we use the distributive property. So 2 times something here should give us this 14a. So 2 goes into 14a 7 times. We're going to bring that a with us because remember 2 times 7a would give us the 14a. We're going to bring down our sign right here, so minus. And then 2 times what would give us this 6, which would be 3. So our factored out expression is 2 times the quantity 7a minus 3. Okay, in number 6, we're looking for the factors of 6 and 8. So remember 2 times 3, 1 times 6 would give us 6. Our factors of 8 would be 1 times 8, 2 times 4. So again, we're looking for the greatest one. In this case, it is 2 again. So we're going to factor out a 2. So we put that 2 outside the parentheses. So 2 times what would give us 6x, which would be 3x. Bring down your minus sign. And 2 times what would give us 8, which would be 4. So we get 2, 3x minus 4. Pause your video and try 7 and 8. Okay, so we're looking for the factors of 18. So 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and then your factors of 10 will be 1 times 10, 2 times 5. So you're looking for your greatest one out of those. So our greatest one is 2 again. So we're going to factor out a 2. So 2 times something should give us 18s, which would be 9s. Bring down your minus sign, and then 2 times something should give us 10, which would be 5. So we get 2 times the quantity 9s minus 5. Okay, in number 8, we're looking for the factors of 21. So that would be 1 times 21, 3 times 7, and I don't think there are any more for 21. So then your multiples of, your factors of 6 would be 1 times 6, 2 times 3. So it looks like the greatest one this time is 3. So we're going to factor out the 3. So 3 times something should give us this 21c, which is 7c. Bring down your plus sign. 3 times something should give us 6, which is 2. So we get 3 times the quantity of 7c plus 2. Pause your video and try examples 9 and 10. So we're going to do our factors of 15. So that's going to be 1 times 15, 3 times 5. Our factors of 27, 1 times 27, 3 times 9. Our factors of 12, 1 times 12, 3 times 4, 2 times 6. So we're looking for the greatest one that they have in common. So this one looks like 3 is going to be the greatest one that they've all got in common. So we're going to factor out a 3. Now, if they all had the same variable in each of these terms, if it was like 15c, 27c, and 12c, then we could also factor out a c with this 3. But since they all, well, the 12 doesn't even have a variable, and 15 and 27 have different variables, we can only factor out the 3. So 3 times something should give us 15c, which is 5c. Bring down your plus sign. 3 times something should give us 27x, which would be 9x. And then 3 times something else should give us 12, which is 4. So we get 3, 5c, plus 9x, plus 4. Okay, our factors of 4 would be 1 and 4, and 2 times 2. 32 would be 1 times 32, 2 times 16, 4 times 8, and our factors of 36 would be 1 times 36, 2 times 18, and 4 times 9. So we're looking for the greatest one again, which appears to be 4 this time. So 4 times something should give us 4w. So that's really 1w, but remember we just write that as a w. Don't put that 1 in front of it if you can get used to that. And then 4 times something else should give us 32x, which is 8x. Bring down that minus sign. And then 4 times something else should give us 36, which is 9. So we get 4w minus 8x minus 9. Okay, go ahead and do 11 and 12. I want you to notice on number 12 that all of them have this x. So when you figure out what number you're factoring out, you can take an x with it. So our factors of 16 would be 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. Our factors of 4 would be 1 and 4, and 2 times 2. And then our factors of 12 would be 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So the greatest one that they have in common appears to be 4 again. So 4 times something should give us 16s, which is 4s. Bring down your minus sign. 4 times something should give us 4t. So that's 1t, which we're just going to write as a t. Bring down your minus sign. 4 times something else should give you 12u, which is 3u. So we get 4, 4s, minus t, minus 3u. Okay, in number 12, we're factoring out the 27. So 1 times 27, 3 times 9. Factors of 24 will be 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And of 30 will be 1 and 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. So it looks like your greatest one this time is 3. However, like I said when we started this slide, all three of these terms have this x in there, so we can factor out a 3x. So 3x times something should give us 27x. So that would be 9, because 3x times 9 is 27x, minus 3x times something should give us 24xy. So 3 times what would give you 24, which is 8. So 3x times 8 is 24x, but we did not factor out the y, so that has to stay. Bring down your minus sign. And then 3 times something should give us 30x. Well, 3x times 10 would give us 30x. Remember, the x is not going on that 10 because we have factored out the x with the 3. So when we do 3x times 10, we're still going to get that 30x. There will be a bonus question very similar to number 12 on your assessment today. So we get 3x, 9 minus 8y, minus 10. Okay, your exit slip today is to factor out 32s minus 20st minus 20s. This one is also very similar to what we just done on number 12. So our factors of 32 be 1 times 32, 2 times 16, 4 times 8, and then our factors of 20 be 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. That's true again with the second 20. So it looks like our greatest common factor here is going to be 4. However, since they all have an s, we can factor out an s with that 4. So 4s times something should give us 32s, which would be 8. Bring down your minus sign. 4s times something should give us 20st. So 4 times 5 gives us the 20. We've already got the s factored out, but we do still have to put the t there. Bring down your next minus sign. 4s times something should give us 20s, and 4 times 5 is 20. We don't need to put that s because we've already factored that out with the 4. So we get 4s, 8 minus 5t minus 5. Go ahead and complete your assessment. You will have a bonus question on there worth 10 points. I will go in and review your answers just in case you enter it in such a way that the computer counts it wrong. I will go in and manually grade those. Good luck, guys.